So I'm primarily a filmmaker, an experimental filmmaker. 20 years ago, I made a movie with Terrence McKenna called Alien Dreamtime. We did it during a 48-hour rave that we threw, and Terrence did 2 spoken word deliveries with live music, and we extracted from that a movie, which was probably the first digital movie ever released. So I've been working at this a long time. Before I got into art, I was a sociologist, writing my dissertation about the avant-garde potential of the psychedelic art movement. And there was a problem with that in the University of Texas in 1979. I wasn't very interested. So I started meeting more and more artists and decided they were having a great deal of fun, regardless of what else was going on. They were people living a very interesting life. I moved to San Francisco in 1980 for the first time. I just moved to Berkeley 2 days ago, so I'm like in my 3rd lifetime here in the Bay Area. So primarily I do visual art and I do digital art. I make enhanced ebooks, I make movies. The last several months I've not been able to use my right hand for using a computer due to overusing my hand to make the Terrence McKenna movie, the Terrence McKenna experience. So I've had to learn to find other ways to express my creativity during this time. I've also been traveling a lot, so I've been traveling with my handy lime green iPad and doing what I can do there. I find that if I don't make art, I get very unhealthy very quick. It's really become my secret sauce. It's my lifestyle, it's my intellectual juice. And when I'm creative, I'm happy. When I'm not creative, I get very suspicious of my intentions and why I'm here. So what I've done in the meantime is I've started writing, and I've had to write with finger pecking on a tablet. So I've tried to create a style of writing that's more truncated, something in between poetry and PowerPoint slides and expository essays. And today, the first thing I want to talk about is the cardiotonic and adaptogenic properties of psychedelia and psychedelic art. What I mean by cardiotonic is rejuvenating and healing the heart. And adaptogenic, I mean substances that help us to adapt to the very specific challenges and conundrums that we're sharing in our postmodern apocalyptic environment. Things that have never been experienced by people anywhere, ever. 9/11 alone is something that marks the beginning of a new human being, a painful one, but one that's real. Virtually every person on the planet was affected by the same experience, and most of them were informed about it in real time and felt all this empathy and pain and fear in real time. So that's the first time anything like that's ever happened, ever. And something new is being born, an earth being of humanity that will hopefully find its appropriate place in the community of all beings and live with peace and share and care for each other. So I want to read a piece I wrote about cardiogenic and adaptogenic properties in psychedelics. Actually, I think I'm going to do something on impulse here. I have a community in Austin, Texas of very dear friends, a ceremonial circle that we've been working together for 4 years at this point. And I've gone through a great many traumas and travails in the meantime. Those people kept me alive, kept me fed, kept me housed, kept me laughing, taught me how to dance better, got me better clothes at Burning Man. They did the right things for me than I needed from these people, and I love them very deeply. And I encourage everybody here to, if you're interested in Entheogens, to take the community part to heart, to find friends and lovers to share this with, and to take that seriously, because it makes all the difference in the world. It really does make a huge difference. So I hope that you are all blessed to find the kind of community that I've been able to find with these people, and that extends your life, extends your joy, extends your creativity the way it has mine. So this piece is called Anticipating Aya. So we were having an ayahuasca ceremony, 3-day thing, and I wasn't able to be there the first night, so I went into a state of prayer and wrote this to my friends that were in the middle of ceremony. It's called Arbolita, Anticipating Aya. Friday night, honey to circle, strength to all, to DJ, to D and J, and to the group, which is who. With great appreciation we invite within, we hold one, we hold the other, we sing reassurance and healing. Sweet smoke calls forgiveness, ancestors smile, earth answers. Blessing on you all there, my heart is hearing, what is I sits with you. Cricket, carry my intentions, sky, shelter surrendered souls. Rock, be steady. Cicada, signal home. Embraced and beheld, darkness and love with light. Many may be one, and one will be all. May dawn be new, mystery held, beauty snaked, jaguar dinners, emerald forest. I hear your songs, I share your healing. Imagine a planet singing, tasting your joy, holding you dear. Faith means something now. Sleep, evergreen. Mama holds us all. Blessings. Thank you for letting me do this way. Spiritual adaptogens and cardiotonic arts, or alternative psychedelia and cardiotonic adaptogens. We need new language to go where we're going. We need more nuanced descriptions of what psychedelics and entheogens do for us. We need to discover this by talking to one another and finding new, clever ways to say things we've said 1,000,000 times the same way. It's the most ineffable experience in the world, but we all spend hours and hours talking about it. That's how we're creating this next world. We language it into existence. Art must be felt and not understood, but experienced. Feeling is a state of awareness and of knowing. Art is a way of expressing and sharing this awareness. What does cardiotonic mean? Healing and rejuvenating the heart. What are adaptogens? Substances that help us adapt to the unique and sometimes hazardous conditions of our post-apocalyptic conundrums. Why do we need cardiotonics and adaptogens? Because we need solutions. We're dealing with post-traumatic stress, 9/11, tsunami radiation, endless warring, poverty, repulsive poverty. Rick Perry. We all recognize we need answers for an array of seemingly intractable problems, personal, social, and planetary. We live in a culture of perpetual crisis. We've become used to frequent, almost constant cataclysms. There are so many we have lost track. A good metaphor, we lost track. We need fresh paths to rejuvenate our cultures, to encourage each other towards sustainability and compassion. We all have grieving to attend to, and joy to enjoy, and to spread like honey on bitter tongues. Share it all, light and the dark. We need hearts big enough and resilient enough to abide with our personal and planetary healing. Hearts to lead our minds and our imaginations. We need each other. We need to share our dreams and our nightmares. Psychedelics can help, and art can help. Psychedelic art is cardiotonic and adaptogen. Art intended to heal and to rejuvenate. They can help us to adapt to our very unique place in space and time in history. In her story, Gracias, Pachamama. Psychedelia extends our imaginations. We explore realms of fantasy and novel realities that are realer than real. Some of these realities you only know once. You'll never be there again. Profound and ancient solutions are coming for our souls in their constant yearning, so that we might serve more completely, to flourish more completely, to survive war and greed and ignorance and hate, to prepare us for impossible futures. Art is the mystery tradition of Western culture. Psychedelic artists are an inner circle with permeable membranes that they share with us. We ask of art seduction, terror, hope, ecstasy, union, and solitude, and she delivers. Like psychedelics, art is a deep secret in plain sight. For those with eyes to see, ears to hear, bodies to awaken. Our newish entheogenic tribe has always used art from the beginning to define and to sculpt our still illicit identities. Our artists create travel logs to non-local realities, journeys that bring home clues of revelation, even clues of immortality. Have you ever been experienced? Everybody here know Jimi Hendrix? Among the most seductive and intriguing words I have ever heard. Have you been experienced? 7th grade, summer, running to David Jones' house. His brother's got the new Jimi Hendrix Experience album. I slip on the stereo headphones. And I receive an initiation into psychedelics. A lifelong fascination and enticement that has never wavered. I knew what psychedelics was, and I knew I wanted it. I wanted some. I wanted to know about it, and I would go where I needed to go to find out. And I have. So have a lot of you guys. More seduction and enticement and clarity. Art is really good at enticing us. Pablo Amarillo, the great ayahuasca painter, says that we create visionary art to fascinate and to entice. It's glamour, it's enchantment, it's beauty, it's mystery. It's not just facts, much more than facts. These stories and these visions speak to a primary and essential aspect of all psychedelics and all psychedelia to seduce us and to enchant us into something far more interesting than what we were given by our education and our training. They fascinate us with oceans and heavens of jeweled realms crowded with light beings and plant spirits, enrapture us with sacred pleasures. New viscosity spread glowing honey sprinkled with pomegranate quantum nodes. Eternal from fingertips to fleshy palaces to swarming galaxies as yet unnamed. Visionary arts warn us too, they dare us to live fully. To pursue our soul's delight, to brave the great abyss we are all known to harbor inside our darkness, this great abyss. To implicate ourselves in this great adventure, an erotic adventure for lovers of all shapes and smells. Have you ever been experienced? I have. So just for a moment, close your eyes and say to yourself, yes, I've been experienced, and realize how good that feels, that you made that choice, that you stepped away and stepped into. Thank you. Our planet thanks you, and we each other thank each other. We thank you for skywalking with molecules and icaros, songs from endangered people, children of the jungles and deserts and mountains, children of the oceans. Thank you eternally, you dearly beloveds, dear honeybee lovers, for your courage, your tenderness, your vulnerability, your strength, your creativity, your scuttled puddles, your cuddled puddles, for keeping it all interesting and sharing all your fun, for dancing all night, for melting at dawn. This is healing our hearts We are adapting. We are adapting and quickening our souls. We are each other. We are mythic neurons in genetic poetry. Mystery is our deepest and our richest adaptogen, our closest ally with blood in your own veins. It's the source of our despair and of our sparkle moments. Embrace her all. Be her, be her. Whisper her thunder and lightning. Roar immense with her silence. Art is mystery's handmaiden. She serves delicious morsels enticing us visionary mammals, preparing us for known and unknown unknowns. Visionary art brings us maps to nirvana and tickets to carnival, an invitation to rave, to dance in torn and furry fashions, and then to go naked into the endless fountain of youth and aging. Psychedelia sets the stage for both comedy and tragedy, for slippery viscosity. We are humbled and exalted, seeing our most intimate imaginings somehow rendered with detail and nuance by our inspired painters and our sound seers. Guided through storms and whiteouts and blackouts to acoustic paradise by DJs and VJs and PJs and robes. Soothed and aroused by our poets, dressed in splendor, some of us, by disencumbered fashions, delicious foods, and exotic confections. We are what we experience, and we are so much more than even our stories. As my friend Robert Anthony says, I am so much more than me. We are at the heart of a great newborn. We are adapting to a literally awesome opportunity. We are coming home. Welcome back. Move forward. Thank you all for being here. We're a great crowd. This is who I make art for. It's new people. I'm not interested in a guy on a tractor in Iowa. I'm not interested in people that are running hard to be accountants every day. God bless them. But I'm really devoted to this audience and this community completely. I want to see a much richer and much more diverse psychedelic and theogenic culture born in my lifetime. I have children, bless their hearts. It's happening in Torino. And I want them to live in a more beautiful world that we're caught in right now, and we'll have to work hard for that. We'll have to work hard and be smart. So, did you want to ask a question? Something over here?
I didn't want to preempt your next words. I'll wait.
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask you about your current projects.
My current project, the Terence McKenna movie, or what I'm working on right now?
Right now, yeah.
Right now I'm talking to a group of geniuses in San Francisco and being really happy to be here. I'm trying to wrap up my movie and get it out into formal distribution. I've already screened it a couple of dozen times. It's available online, and I'll give everybody that wants one a very sophisticated downlink message here. And you can download it at a real nice high-definition version of it for free there. I'm also working on a bunch of enhanced ebooks. I mentioned doing this Billy the Kid book with Robert. I'm doing one extracted from the movie about Terence McKenna. I'm doing one on the poet Rumi. Those are probably the most immediate projects. I work all the time. I love being an artist. I love getting to just make things from nothing. It's incredible. Everybody wants to be an artist at some point. So I'd like to read one other one, The Promise of the Coming Dark Ages. We are on the verge of an event horizon. It's upon us. Our planet is under siege. Our souls are at stake. We are awakening. We are transforming. Our artists are visualizing. Our sisters are finding their voices. Our farmers are growing real food. Our children are watching us, and they're dancing. We will have more with so much less. We will give and we will share. We will have to. We will have to have new ideas from those jungles, deserts, and mountaintops, from the black rocks and fire dust, angling us toward a deeper green, a darkness that loves the light. We are shedding our species' skin. The past is a story we tell to enhance our futures. Choose carefully. Your attention is everything. A planetary human being is being born, is being birthed. We are the midwives. It isn't easy, but it is essential. An alchemy of imaginal gardens is ours again, having been lost. We are learning indigenous enchantments and wisdoms. Our planet is convulsive. Sufi, shamanic, ecstatic dancers still melting into still new dawns, carrying plasma sparks home again, becoming enchantment itself, being justice, being kindness, being together in global, empathetic, cuddle-puddle realism. Clean the water, cherish the forest, return to the immense community of exuberance we call DNA. Return with humility and awe to our infinite responsibilities and eternal joys. To serve and flourish, give your light and share your dark, melt away all that is not love or mystery. We belong on this emerald jewel, this pale blue dot in infinite black space. We share its deepest grief. We sleep restless, seeking our part of urgent solutions. Namaste. Namaste all the way. We embrace and enhance our holographic union. We are all gifts to each other. We all belong. We are going beyond. So be good and be badass. It matters what we do, what we think, and what we feel. What's my time looking like, boss?
You got 20 minutes if you want to do question and answer, or 35 if you're just...
Cool. Great. All right. Read another ayahuasca piece. Aya, Maya, and other essentials are about many things or the no thing, one thing, which is all things. Aya is about Maya, illusion, going green. Aya helps us to see life's illusions. Dissolve, purge again, rip asunder various veils, hiding our treasures, stealing our pleasures. Aya and the sacred others, plants, minerals, fire, plasma, air, planet, sky, water, I, you, we, all awaken to dreams, dream to awaken. We bind, we weave story, from sweetest chaos and desire. We bind ourselves like snowshoes to gather, to rescue, to escape, to reach a slope, a hot sauna. Then we unwind when there is enough, when we are safe, when we are naked, and tell, witness, invoke, provoke, evoke her presence, which has always been enough, but just barely, to keep it all afloat. Thank you, ayahuasca. Thank you, Marjorie. Early elders and forbidden fruit. I had this discussion with Annie and a lot of other people in over 30 group, over 40 group, about what do we call people that are between their family years and their old man years or their crone years. You're no longer having a family, but you're not ready to sum up your life and crawl into the shadow. So who are we, and what are we going to do with these extra years that science and good food is giving to us? I heard Annie say that someone she knows predicted that we might, a person of her age and situation, might well live to be 120 years old. I'm 60 years old. Even if I only live to be 100, that's another 40 years. And I've got gray hair. Everybody comes up to me and treats me like an elder and calls me Papa Smurf and things. Where did you go? And you say, "Jim, what do we do?" So this is somewhat about that. Early elders and forbidden fruits. We aren't done yet. We are early for elders, not yet the old man or the crone, done with the middle, with childbearing of all various sorts. Many of our beloveds remain, but some of those blessed ones have gone ahead. We are extending our life range, our soul force. While I might die tonight, I may well live beyond 100 summers, 40 more years. We were early as kids too, the babies booming, very hungry in a dangerous realpolitik. Housed on a planet under siege, we were hungry for worlds freed from poverty, hatred, atomic bombs. Wars cold, so hot, we could have lost it all in a single dark night. We could have just been over. We might not have even created Burning Man, or even heard of dubstep. No Facebook, not even email or Google Maps. No futures, no Johnny Rotten or Talking Heads. It was just a possibility, but it scared the crap out of me. I was 9 years old when John Kennedy came on TV and told us we might just have to have a little shakedown war with Russia to get things straight. We're going to drop bombs on each other. I realized at 9 that the adults were insane. They had created ideational techniques for cultural suicide, and that a new generation would have to be born, a rescue cohort to address this insanity. I didn't start doing psychedelics at 9, but I started pretty early. And it was an immediate and direct response to trying to find more vital and more helpful solutions to all the stuff that was building up on our generation's steps. Now we're the old guys. It's been a very long trail. It could have all been over. The motivation is to dream large, to dream any size and anything. The motivation is to celebrate and to provoke, to surrender and give pleasure. We purge gallons of shame in front of strangers, souls exposed in sacred places and tea ceremonies, and exuberance in grief. Grief, deep green grief, and nurturing, shared and spreadable to the Playa Temple, or the Forest Temple, or the Ocean Temple. Joy spreadable to our amazing friends, to the ancestors, and to the others all around us. We are and were always one, and so much more than we can imagine that means. We need forbidden fruits, we need wet ones, we need juicy ones, enticing and literally awesome ones. We have them. This is the open secret. These still illicit elixirs tempt our souls, seduce our souls, bodies, and imaginations. We are the blessed ones. We are Bodhisattva, come back as many from uncountable light worlds and caverns and whiteouts and trauma with tenderness, tasted and reminded of paradise ahead, in front of us as well as behind us. At the center of every personal hologram, paradise contains and balances the abyss. We return again and again. We cycle default worlds with this living eros, a loving life in a beloved world. Have faith. Melt your face off. Pray in those dust storms. Chase your sparkling self-pony to oblivion and persist through tests and trials you've never intended. It's worth it. It's access to joys unspeakable and responsibility and reverence. We bring home hope for our time, radical new waves of fun, intelligence, and creativity, going nova. We experiment with utopia, we build gifts, and composting toilets, and open culture, smiling, sharing, daring each other to be that honey, to rest on bitter tongues. Empathy is delicious and potent, and it is our fundamental psychedelic solution. Light from without, light from within. Gracias, gracias, gracias. sweet mother of life, and good father of now. Namaste. What else I can do in here? About psychedelics, number 3, version 3, excuse me. Psychedelics are dangerous yet essential substances. We need one another, unity, consciousness, and high weirdness. Psychedelics deliver both reliably. Why do we need them? We need to understand that we are all in this together. Our species, part of a community of sacred beings, every plant, animal, mineral, and quasar is a divine being. Every human is plant, animal, mineral, plasma, water, sight, and sound. A synesthetic symphony of living awareness. Psychedelics reveal this connectedness in all its glory. We also need the other, unknowables, wonderful and terrifying, new ideas and hideous monsters from the abyss, an unquenchable juxtaposition of incommensurate experience. Psychedelics reveal this autonomous, chaotic attractor at the center of our minds. We also yearn to love and to be loved, and to know oneself. Psychedelics excel here as well. How did we ever get along without these amazing substances? We haven't. We lost it and things went really bad. Otherwise, we've always had these. Every culture we are aware of has built itself around these cultural bringers, even our own. Our atypical artists, scientists, technologists, and geniuses have been disproportionately disposed toward mind expansion. Ancient cultures understood the importance of these allies and made appropriate accommodations. Truly ancient indigenous cultures built entire cosmologies and sustainable convivial societies from revelations and guidance from plants. Our planet is enduring this crisis of a new human origin. Our species has been destroying its own habitat. It can't go on much longer. We need these innumerable solutions to these deeply entrenched problems. We need the creativity and kindness on a scale we have never been able to grasp. We will be led toward survival through our hearts, or it will all be lost. Our planet will grieve us mightily, but she will go on, nurturing awareness from within her own crucible. We will learn to care and to share quickly, or else pass into the cataclysm. Psychedelic experience remains dangerous and essential. Most of the danger is from repression and blind ignorance. We know what it takes. We have grown into our rambunctious selves by doing whatever it takes. We can surmount greed and fear and offer plenty. We can dream transformations of infinite consequence. If we survive our current challenges, it will be in part due to the explorers of these inner realms of being, those who are bringing us back the boon of experience and courage, and by showing their way of walking on this very sweet planet, an open path of heart and grace with joyful expressions of gratitude. We are all imaginal creatures, inspired to wonder aloud. Thank you all here, before and after. And paradise follows. This is the great awakening, beauty and mystery. For many, darkness itself has become toxic. Doom has so many opportunities we have lost track of it all. Radiation, spewing, conspiracies looming, people on the street cold and lonely. We have lost track of these catastrophes. And we soar in paradise, activated and pleasured, healed and gifted. Blessed with ecstasy and empathy, we know the path back to heaven and to fairy. A planetary being struggling toward the light, and there is fear, great and life-confirming fears. We all have them. We have all been and will be again afraid and very alone. It is important and healthy to have these shadows. a treasure of species legacy, our genus alone, settling the stage for light, a darkness that loves light. And we suffer them, our fears, all of us, mamas and babas, scientists and Sherpers, psychedelic and Tea Party, children and Chinese. We are all human and we are all imaginal beings. The fears are stories embedded in us by experience. They should serve us, never disable us. We can choose our stories, acknowledge them, feel them deeply, melt them with courage and conviction. You are divine, and you are invincible, eternal. You are all, and all are you. Shamanic teachings give us a three-part journey through our first ordinary world, and then through a dark underworld, and finally arriving at a paradisical overworld. There are really no rules. There are only choices and consequences. Where does that choice come from? Where does free will originate? Fighting with fear leads to more suffering. We struggle, we resist, we decide. But without hate and with faith, faith in life and in your own ancient legacies, faith in DNA and in playa prayers. The shaman in us all will turn to dark challengers and ask them what they want, what do they need. If attacked, we evade and engage. Ask for help from allies and Pachamama. What do they want? What do they serve these tormentors? Protect yourself. Ask Grandfather Fire for strength. The beast is your own fear, wearing the same 1,000 masks that the hero wears. And it knows all of our tender spots with loving grace and perseverance. You emerge again into lights, dancing with the quasars, over that event horizon. Every dark vortex is also a mirror. It is there to teach you something of the preciousness and fragility and great power of human life. Paradise follows. Namaste, sweet lovers. Namaste. You know what? I'd like to open it up at this point. That's good for folks. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments? Come on.
Well, I don't want to veer off to a negative thing with all the beautiful things, but since you did do the film on Terence McKenna, I wonder what your thoughts or reflections are on the controversy with Jan Irwin's allegations that he might have been, well, he seems to think that there's evidence that he worked for the CIA. So I just want to know your thoughts on that.
The question is involving a fellow that's writing a bunch of stuff on the internet about the CIA seeding the beginning of the psychedelic movement by funding people like Gordon Wasson, possibly Albert Hoffman, and virtually everybody that you can name that's involved with psychedelic research. I've read that stuff and I find it preposterous, to tell you the truth. I can tell you from first-hand experience that if Terence McKenna was working for the CIA, they weren't paying minimum wage, and they weren't providing health care. And it seems just ludicrous. I think it's just the guy trying to get on stage and trying to steal somebody else's halo. That said, I have no doubt at all that the CIA is involved with all those people at some level. They're involved with all of you at some level. We all exist in the same realm. And I think it's important to remember that even if the CIA did fund an acid revolution or a mushroom revolution, that we should perhaps thank the greater mystery that those people reside in, that they were so useful to each of us and to our planet to provide us with these sacraments. So if the CIA needs to be receiving gratitude, fine. I certainly don't think it eventuated into a more controllable or docile counterculture. I think it's enlivened our culture in ways that will perhaps save us. So I'm supposed to be in that same group, and I can promise you I definitely come up to the CIA.
Thank you, because his Gnostic media, when at first he was always about the things and Entheogens. I mean, it seemed like he was going in a wonderful direction. Suddenly he just
Well, you know, all of us are humans, and all of us are fucked up children. All of us. Terrence was a fucked up child. He had serious issues. And this guy, whoever he is, you don't have to look at him very long to see that he's pretty uptight. He probably didn't have a lot of fun in high school. And all of a sudden he's getting attention, a lot of attention, more than he ever dreamed of. And it's not for spreading the good word, it's for trying to show what a corrupt being some guy was. Not only Terrence, but Aldous Huxley, Timothy Leary, all the people that do science at Harvard, anybody that's ever taught at Esalen Institute. It's just an insane scenario in some levels. But I also think it's just a reflection of one, sad human beings need to be acknowledged and loved. So it's okay with me. You know, I need that too. I need to be loved, I need to be accepted, and I need to be acknowledged. Every one of us does. And when you're in the psychedelic world, like McKenna and Daniel Pinchbeck, Charles Shaw, Mitch Schultz, I know all these people very well. And they sacrifice a huge amount of their life opportunity to do what they do for this community. They're not living fat, they're not living rich. They're living off the edge, and they're giving up a lot. Most of them have given up part of their families. All of them have given up what could have been more lucrative careers to do what they thought was the right thing. So, you know, we're all in this together. It takes the CIA, it takes the Taliban, it takes Robert Anthony. And it's a very interesting banquet that we're having to sit down in front of over and over again.
Thank you, wonderful.
Yes.
There was a workshop that someone asked Terrence, said, you know, why do you think they let you keep doing these workshops and talking about these, you know, illegal things and transformative things? And he thought about it for a second, and he said, well, he said, they probably think it's more interesting letting me do it. And it would seem like a very grounded, you know, honest response, you know. So I kind of thought, yeah, you know, he's going to do it anyways.
The first time I met Terrence, I asked him why he wasn't in jail yet. And
Yeah.
he said, I made $35,000 in my best year. And for people like that, it's a career move to bust somebody, and it takes a long time. And busting some fruity intellectual that's only making 35 grand doesn't make sense when you can be tracking down some meth head or some cocaine dealer that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So he felt safe in the fact that he was impoverished and that he didn't have any access to the resources that would make him look like he was dangerous. I've also heard people say that when they asked him that he said, I use big words. That could be important. I feel absolutely no pressure on my life at this time about advocating psychedelics, although in 1980, I left the Bay Area because of some scary stuff going on. And I felt very vulnerable at that time. But something has changed. There's been a shift in the culture. The people that were opposing this have forgotten about it, given up on it. They don't talk about it. They're not ranting on TV about it. They're ranting about letting people have free health care, for God's sake. It's really going down. You know, so they're not there anymore. They let it go. And people that are applying for research permissions have been very successful at getting them. They don't get funding, but if you bring your own funding, they'll let you study basically what you want right now, to some extent. There's one study that's being proposed that they give psilocybin to healthy individuals with no protocol at all. Just pass them the psilocybin and then come back in 6 weeks and say, what happened? What'd you do? That kind of research project really excites me because I'm all about the therapy, I'm all about maths and these other things. But I also think it's important for us to remember that psychedelics enhance even the most beautiful lives, even the healthiest of lives, even lives full of yoga and raw food. They help. They provide something nothing else provides as far as I'm aware of. I think it's very important that all those communities acknowledge that and come out of the closet. The Paisley closet. Any more? Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to figure out how to ask this, but something about, do you feel like psychedelics point the way to something that can be arrived at than just the substance itself?
Myself, I believe in definitely augmenting my psychedelic practice, meditation, qigong, and other things. I think it's a widespread. I think some people are attracted to the trickster part of psychedelics, and they love getting crazy and partying. And that's not my deal, but I understand how important it is. I understand how crucial it is to be part of the community. I also know people that do yoga that do a lot of psychedelics that they won't tell their yoga friends they did psychedelics because they'll be seen as impure, and I think that's nonsense. So I think you can get to states of bliss and states of unity consciousness and even go to other realms by meditating, by fasting, by running too far. There's a lot of ways to alter your consciousness. That doesn't mean that I think that doing yoga gets you where psychedelics does. I think that's a completely preposterous suggestion and not verified by any experience or research that I've ever seen. So yes, I can sit in oneness with my white light when I do my mantra, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But it doesn't do much about solving poverty, it doesn't do much about radiation in the seafood, it doesn't do much about making better poetry. It's really important that we come back into this opportunity of this lifetime in this body and this moment in history and serve it. So yeah, I can sit with my legs crossed and I love doing it, but I don't think it's a substitute for being able to explore the planet and the universe, the plant allies and some other substances. I'm pretty much like plants, but I'm open to all of them, frankly. Sir?
I have a question. I think I heard you speak maybe a year ago, and maybe you can update. You mentioned that there was some new synthetic DMT that held promise that was starting to circulate.
The DMT, is that?
Yeah.
I don't remember saying that, but at any rate, you're right. There's a lot of new DMT being created around the country using extractions of different sorts from mimosa bark. You can extract them with orange juice, and everything's all organic and no petrochemicals used or solvents. And in this particular case, the DMT is precipitated onto passion flowers, which provides the MAO inhibitor that allows the experience to be extended and go a little deeper and stick with your reflection on it a little more later so that you can have more integration. DMT is such a special case substance that it's hard to say anything very general about it because you can have 10 DMT experiences in a row that seem very similar and then have one that has no bearing on anything you've ever heard of. Nothing from anyone. So it's a very special case kind of substance. Hope you all get a chance to explore that someday. It'd be nice if this thing just got over, you know, and that we just insisted that we had the rights as grown-ups to do what we want to do with our own minds. It's been a long time. I am 60 years old, and I am tired of whispering about psychedelics. I paid my taxes. I know how to drive a car. I have children that went through high school and they're happy and beautiful. I don't know what else I need to do to be an American. I mean, they could have Walt Whitman tattooed on my body. I should have to do a lot more than what I've already done to say, hey, give me a break. I'm not causing anybody to lose any property. I'm just trying to help out here. All you guys are. Is anybody else? So seriously, anybody that wants to see this movie about Terence McKenna, come up and get one of these little cards.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I think most people in this room would really dig it. It's very experimental, and it's very trippy.
Is your poetry available anywhere? Or is it printed?
This is the first time I've ever read anything in public today. I'll put something on this. I'll put some of this stuff there. This is a site for the movie, but I'll just drop some of the writing in there also. Thank you guys. I love you all. I love what you're doing with your lives. Thank you for your courage and your presence. And thank you, Larry, for having us all here and for putting in all the incredible hard work it takes to get this together over and over again. Thank you. Peace.